What's going on, everyone? So, what a day today, right? I mean, for like a month, we thought JJ Redick was a lock to be the Lakers head coach. I mean, even JJ Redick himself kind of is like hint, hint, wink, wink, right? He has this interview, and they're like, "Oh, like what's going on?" He's like, "Oh, well, I'll address it once the finals is over and all that stuff." And it's just all signs, all ships, all roads have led to JJ Redick is going to be the new head coach. I mean, there were literal reports that said that the Lakers were interviewing for assistant jobs to put around JJ Redick. And now, look, I want to be clear. JJ Redick still could very well be the head coach, right? Like this, them going and trying to get Dan Hurley does not mean that they're guaranteed to get him, right? He has a history of turning down more lucrative offers. There's a lot of talk right now that it's kind of like a leverage play by Dan to try to get more money with UConn. He's trying to go for a three-peat, which he's talked about heavily wanting to do and wanting to keep. This also kind of feels like the Lakers kind of way to, we tried to go get something else, right? So all the people that didn't want JJ, we tried to get the best option. He wants to stay in college. So, we had no choice. We had to go with JJ, right? Type thing. So, again, just to be clear, don't just assume that Dan's it and, JJ's off the table. Right? Because if Dan falls through in any way, JJ's going to be the guy that's going to end up getting the coaching job. And I don't think that those reports that like, oh, hey, JJ is, because a lot of people are like, oh, it's a smokescreen. Oh, it's, it's all made up, right? I don't necessarily think that. There's a lot of smoke, right? And a lot of credible people that were talking about JJ more likely than not being the head coach, right? So I just, that information came from somewhere. And, again, you're talking about some very, like, Shams and stuff. Or, is he really going to risk his reputation of, just being one of the premier insiders by just, like, making something up? I don't know. I mean, it's very possible. But I'm saying, like, I believe that there's still, like, I think that those rumors are true. I just think that, hey, this is, like, if we can get this guy, right, this is the one guy we think is better than JJ, right? Like, that's kind of where I lean with this. Again, these are my thoughts. I'd love to hear yours. But, got an update. So, tomorrow, depending on when you watch this video, could be today. But, Friday, the Lakers and Dan are going to sit down and kind of hash this out and talk about what will it take, what is the future, and try to do what they can to try to persuade Hurley to come and leave UConn to be the Lakers head coach. Now, this is already confirmed, so Dan Hurley already addressed and said, like, yeah, right? Like, he said it's business as usual. Like, and so, again, like, don't get super in love with Dan. Like, again, if he's the new head coach, I love it. Let's go. Let's get it. But, right, this very well could be a leverage play for both the Lakers and Dan. And that's kind of what the word is. And it makes sense. I mean, if you want examples, right? What happened with Jason Kidd as soon as the Lakers gets an extension, getting paid stacks, right? What happened with Tyronn Lue as soon as the Lakers mentioned him, right? People use the Lakers as leverage. And, and this is a way for the Lakers to, hey, this is their kind of get out of jail free card if they land JJ. And they also now could use this to not have to pay JJ so much, right? And then you add in Dan, who he wants to go for the three-peat. He wants to be one of those coaches that do that, and he wants to stay in UConn, but he wants to get paid more because he's only making like $5 million a year or whatever, $5.5 million a year. So he wants to get paid, right? So it makes sense that, like, hey, let's use each other mutually to get the best option possible for me and a payday, right? Now, again, I don't doubt that there's a path there. I don't think that this is just solely, like, I want to be clear, like, I don't think that this is solely just, they're just trying to use each other for financial gain. Like, I don't think it's that. I think there is some level of interest. I mean, Dan has said repeatedly that, like, if he was to leave UConn, but he also said when he feels ready and feels like he's matured enough as a coach to take that step. But I absolutely believe that there is some level of just interest. And I think that, it's like, oh man, I could go and jump and be the head coach of the Lakers. Like, how many people get the opportunity to do that? And then, from the Lakers standpoint, I do believe that they're like, hey, like this could be a real cultural guy. He has a great history. He's a tactician, right? He checks off all the boxes. Like, this is a guy that makes a world of sense. So if we can get him, right? So I don't think that this is like this is all nonsense. That's not what I'm getting at. I'm just saying, don't get your hopes up, right? Lakers at the time offered Coach K of Duke, I think it was in 2024? 2024. But they offered Coach K a historical record-breaking contract, again, for the time, and he rejected it. It would have made him by far the highest paid coach in history. And he rejected it because he wanted to stay in Duke. Right? So just something to keep in mind. Just because they throw a bag at him or something, Dan Hurley has turned down bags to just stay in positions that he's more comfortable in and what he likes. Now, I also think that there is, because you got to remember Coach K, because this came out of left field, right? This was like, wow, where did this come from, right? Which credit Woj. But I also think that a lot of it, I think Coach K, right? Like, I think he's probably the end point. And I think he'll probably talk to him. And, but I'm curious too, because it's like, if I was Dan, my first question would be like, well, why did you reject the Lakers back then? Like, that would be my very first question to him, right? Like, hey, Kay, like, so why do you think I should take it and you didn't? It's just, it's an interesting thought, because it's like, oh, wait, you're right, I didn't take it. Right? And I want to hear your logic, right? Because now you're with the Lakers using, your history to, hey, let me get you here. I just think, like, there's got to be that question. But I think we're going to know a lot more. I think this deal, if he does sign on, I think it'll be done by, like, Monday or Tuesday, the latest. Right? I think the absolute latest. I think if we don't get something by, like, Monday or Tuesday, I think we're going to end up getting reports that are like, he turned it down, blah, blah, blah. Right? Because I just think that this is going to be quick. Boom, 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 boom. I think that the Lakers and Dan, they're just going to come to the conclusion, hey, let's do this, sign up, we're on board, let's go. They're meeting tomorrow, but, like, I don't necessarily think that they're all going to walk away and just everything signed, sealed, delivered. No, I don't necessarily think that. I'm sure he's going to go to the meeting. He's going to want to take a step back, take a day or two. That's why I think you'll probably get through the weekend. So I'll have the meeting on Friday, probably get through Saturday, Sunday, allow him to think it over and marinate. And then I think we'll have some word Monday or Tuesday. But I'm sure we'll also get a little insight into, like, how the meeting went and all that stuff. Like, it's gonna be quite interesting to see how this all plays out. But yeah, what a shocker, right? Anyway, as always, this is a discussion. I pass the question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you like the idea of Dan Hurley being the Lakers head coach? Do you think no, stay away from him? This is also a potential leverage play from Dan and the Lakers, or one side or the other. Again, I want to be clear. Like, I believe that there's interest from both sides. I believe Dan is truly interested in at least hearing the Lakers out and, potentially coming on board as the head coach. Just like I think the Lakers are doing this because they wouldn't be having all these meetings and all these conversations stuff if there wasn't interest. Like, if it was just solely like, hey, let's mutually use each other for benefit, then it'd probably just be one phone call and that's that, right? Like, you just kind of like, yeah, I'm going to wink, wink, make a decision in a month, right? Like, so, but I do think that there is, I think it's a win-win for all sides. Because I think if Dan takes the Laker job, boom, perfect. I think if he doesn't, then he probably gets paid more, gets a bigger contract from UConn. And then for the Lakers, it's like, hey, we tried to get Dan. He wanted to stay and try to three-peat with UConn. Sorry, don't know what to tell you. And then now he gets to kind of point and go, so I don't know. I think it's the scapegoat to get JJ. But we'll see. Time will tell. Again, I am all for Dan. Bring him on. If we can get him, beautiful. There obviously are questions and concerns about can he translate to an NBA level. But I do. I like the move. Anyway, again, how you feel, let me know down in the comments. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot, so we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.